You arrive in Nanking on a cold, quiet evening, the sky muted as ink and the air still. This is not a bustling, modern cityscape, but one caught between history and what is to come. Gentle breaths of wind stir the bamboo outside your window, and somewhere a distant river murmurs under the moonlight. You are invited to relax, lean back as if on a soft straw mat. Inhale the delicate scent of jasmine tea lingering in the pear, and listen to the soft rhythm of your own heartbeat. Let the warmth of the room, perfumed with wood smoke and cedar, keep you grounded in this ancient capital of China. Tonight, there is peace, even if you know the city itself holds many stories. You know that only months ago Nanking had been the proud capital of the nationalist republic, and that change is on its way. For now, though, the city sleeps, and so do you. 1. You feel the weight of a short, woolen blanket on your shoulders and notice how the simple wooden furnishings feel slightly coarse under your fingertips. Outside, lantern light flickers on the city walls, and you can almost sense the patience of the old bricks, centuries old, waiting for dawn. Even as the wind carries a hint of frost, the air has the soft warmth of hearth fires. A cricket chirps methodically in the distance. A dog barks softly far off. Each sound, each smell, is a gentle reminder that you are alive in this moment. Nothing urgent is demanded of you tonight. In the stillness, tiny details come alive. The tatami mat below your feet is slightly damp with dew. Its straw, texture rough yet comforting. The faint ticking of an old clock seems to measure breaths instead of hours. As you sink deeper into calm, you may recall that not far from here foreigners, 27 of them, stayed behind when most Western residents fled. Among them was a German businessman named John Rabe, who organized a safety zone to protect civilians. His presence was meant to be a shield against chaos, but even thinking of it need not disturb your peace now. For the moment, all is still. Allow the night to wash over you. You wake slowly. The first glimmer of dawn is just a thin line on the horizon, a faint brushstroke of pale light. Above dark city walls, the wooden shutters shift with the slightest morning breeze, drawing tiny slivers of light across the floor. You open your eyes and feel the firmness of a narrow cot beneath you. The mattress, just coarse enough to remind you of where you are. Your body aches pleasantly from yesterday's wanderings, ankles slightly sore from pacing the old city streets, fingers tasting of paper and ink from practicing calligraphy. Stretching in your modest room, you notice the embroidered silk pillowcase beneath your head, patterned with plum blossoms. The blossoms are delicate, white on a field of deep blue, a little window to nature. Even within these walls, the air is cool, carrying hints of wood smoke and the faint, sweet smell of tea. You slip a hand out from under the blanket. Your fingertips meet a smooth porcelain cup on a wooden nightstand. It holds warm tea, ginger and chrysanthemum, still steeping, a gift of hospitality. You lift the cup and take a gentle sip. The warmth spreads through you, and the ginger stirs your senses awake. Outside, the last stars fade as the first birds stir. Though your body is comfortable, your mind is alert. You remember it is December 12, 1937. Tomorrow is an important day. Rumors tell you that the distant war which has been creeping toward the city's walls may break here. Far off, somewhere beyond the river, artillery drifts even now like the slow roll of thunder over water. A flight of low planes passed overhead last night. You did not flinch at the drone of their engines. Instead, you concentrated on your breathing, feeling each breath come easier. The day after the USS Panay was sunk by those same planes. You knew something was inevitable then. Yet here in your room, light and shadow play gently on the walls. The metal frame of your bed creaks softly as you sit up, but the sound is reassuring, grounding. You feel the rough wood of the bedpost beneath your palm. The horizon is lighting up with a fragile pastel palette, pinks and golds. You listen to the city, awakening with you. A vendor in the next alley softly clanging a gong to announce rice porridge. The quiet murmur of an early stream of people. Even the hiss of water being poured into a kettle for morning tea. Nothing feels urgent. Despite the events you remember, you are here now, safe in a quiet room. You breathe deeply. The air is crisp in your lungs, the cool breath hitting your throat like gentle silk. Outside your window is a small courtyard garden, and you notice the old plum tree branches weighted with frost. Tiny black buds rest against the gray bark. Each branch looks like a gnarled finger reaching into the morning light. The ground is bare except for a few curled red leaves, still clinging stubbornly beneath a camphor tree. You rise from the cot, legs stretching, feet finding a pair of woolen socks by the hearth. The floor feels cold, and you step slowly toward the wooden door, admiring the slight warping of the aged planks underfoot. You pause at the threshold of your room, closing your eyes for a moment. The sounds of Nanking morning fill the narrow hallway outside, laughter of children echoing down the lane. A metal chain rattling from a neighbor's door, the squeak of bicycle wheels rounding a corner. It all flows into you like a quiet river. Before leaving the room, you smooth the blanket and straighten the thin cot as a sign of thankfulness for your rest. Turning the doorknob, you step out into the corridor. Light has grown, but still soft. It is as if the entire city is holding its breath, a gentle shudder of dawn before anything stirs. You step into the fresh morning light. The corridor opens onto a small courtyard, with shutter windows watch over cobblestone paths. You pause for a moment, noticing how the air tastes of frost and faint floral incense from the temple nearby. The building you are in is modest, more earthy than fancy. Built of clay brick and timber, it feels alive in its age. You know this city was once China's capital, though now the halls are emptier and night's quiet seems unnatural. In the yard, a cat stretches by the old stone trough, its back arching like a drawn bow. It spots you and ambles toward the shade of a camphor tree, pad after silent pad on the stones. She flicks her tail lazily, tail tip high as an old man's cane. For a moment she eyes you with indifferent curiosity, then turns her back, thoroughly unimpressed. You smile and reach to rub her silky back. Even her fur is frosty from the cold. She purrs as you do, a low, rhythmical sound. Beyond the courtyard wall, Nanking unfolds around you. There's the temple's familiar silhouette, tall eaves, sloping gently upward at the corners, its roof tiles black against the dawn sky. A thin wisp of incense, smoke curls from its chimney, carrying the scent of sandalwood and earth into the chilled air. The Confucius Temple Fuzumiao is only a few blocks away, on the bank of the river. You can almost feel its ancient presence. Since the year 1034, it has stood by the Qinhuai River as a place of learning and reverence. In centuries past, scholars walked where you walk now, chanting poetry to the river. You breathe in the memory. This morning, though, the river itself is quiet and gentle, reflecting the pastel sky like liquid glass. Off to your left are city walls, old Ming Dynasty walls of brick and stone, still sturdy and wide. Even though half the city's 1 million residents fled long ago, many houses here are vacant, paper windows closed against the cold. White plaster peels on some walls, wooden beams creak with age, and on a few gateposts, you see jagged arrow slits, old war relics, now framing view of tranquil alleys. A rat scurries across the courtyard floor and into a gap under the gate. Even the vermin seem to value their sleep here this morning. A neighbor appears, an elderly man leaning on a bamboo cane. He's wearing a padded brown jacket and trousers tucked into bootleg leggings. His face is wine-chapped, as if carved from linen, and his eyes, though squinting against the light, seem kind. He greets you with a gentle nod, in Chinese, Zhao Shanghao. Good morning, though you barely catch the syllables. You nod back and murmur in return. Your accent is clumsy. He chuckles softly, a warm sound like tea pouring. His gaze drifts upward to the camphor tree, then to the cat by your feet. The weather is cold, yes. His voice is soft, as if he's telling the cat rather than you. You laugh quietly. Yes, chilly, but beautiful. He taps his cane softly in agreement. Without another word, he turns slowly and begins to shuffle away, leaving you with the cat and the awakening city. You notice then the smell of cooking, perhaps rice congee boiling, the tang of pickled vegetables, or the sweet scent of fried chestnuts roasting on a cart. A bell rings in the distance, not noisy, but a calm, hollow sound from one of the temple's towers. The bell rings as a reminder of time passing, as it has for hundreds of years. Birds flit overhead, tiny sparrows in a forgotten parade, gray against the pale sky, twittering a cautious greeting to morning. Above, the sun peaks over the city wall, and suddenly there is golden light on the rooftops. You see more, walls beyond, green-topped pavilions shimmering slightly in the new sunlight. In your hand you hold a steamed bun, warm, soft, sprinkled with sesame, one you just bought from a passing vendor. The taste of warm dough and sweet bean paste is comfort itself. You savor it slowly as the city comes to life around you, one gentle sound and one weak steam trail at a time. With your breakfast warming your hands, you begin your simple routine. You think of the day's chores, much as you think of pulling on socks and brushing hair, necessary but meditative. Here on the cusp of winter, each action is deliberate, drawn out, and comforting. First, you find a common well not far from your doorstep. The well stands behind a low wall of stone, mossy and old. Leaning over the lip, you see clear water glinting. The air is chilly enough to raise goosebumps on your forearms as you lower the bucket. You can feel the rough, knotted wood of the pulley handle in your hand. Back and forth it turns, the rope quiet with age. Soon, a heavy pail of water rises. The drop of the water echoes lightly in the wooden bucket as it surfaces, the sound resembling a distant heart, beating steadily. You fill a basin with the water, then wash your face and hands. The cold water is crisp and invigorating. Tiny droplets cling to your eyelashes as you look up at the morning sky, now painted pink and or blue. The bucket brims, so you take it to fetch water for boiling rice. On the way, you pass an alley where children have begun to gather their brushes for calligraphy practice. One little girl points at your water jugs and gurgles a hello. You smile and murmur greetings. Her grin is pure and wise beyond her years. Even the innocence of youth among cobblestones makes the day feel peaceful. Back in the yard, you set a small clay stove to boil water over kindling. You notice how the wood crackles, rhythmic and playful. The firelight dances on the wall as if telling silent stories. You toss in green tea leaves. The aroma is gentle, vegetal, a soft warmth you inhale deeply. In the basket, a few eggs simmer, their shells inching closer to split from heat. You tap one on the edge. It cracks slightly, and you lick the steam off your Efferinger. Salty dawn. With breakfast steaming on a tray, you pause to reflect on simple blessings. Around you, morning is mundane yet precious. You drink tea slowly, mindful of each sip. Breakfast tastes of rice wine and a bit of yesterday's pickled radish. It makes you chuckle softly to remember the cat who circled your ankles and begged for a bite. You had to wink to remind her no fish today. Before the day truly begins, you practice a little tai chi in the courtyard. It's something you learned from an old master in your hometown. The movements are slow, fluid, arms like willow branches swaying in wind, legs rooted like the camphor tree. Each breath is intentional. In the cold air, out, warm steam. As you move, you feel a connection to this place. Your legs feel rooted to these stones, as if the energy of the city runs beneath them. Though the war drums rumble far away, here in this quiet morning, your body only pulses to its own calm. Finally, you dress for the day. Your robe is a muted indigo, worn at the edges but tidy. As you pull it on, your Efferingers linger on the embroidered collar, plum blossoms, matching the pillowcase design. You notice the robe's sash ties snugly round your waist. A small smile appears on your face. It is a simple garment, but a reminder that even in uncertainty, routine brings comfort. You take one last sip of tea from the glazed cup. Its warmth lingers on your fingers. Stepping outside again, you notice something. Your neighbor's lantern, a lacquered paper lantern painted with willow branches, is cracked at the base. The light within flickers weakly. Offering to help, you gather some bamboo and crepe paper from a small cart nearby to fix it. The paper is thin and rice-like in texture. A gentle breeze tries to lift it from your hands. Carefully, you wrap fresh paper around the bamboo frame, whispering encouragement to it as if it were a stubborn pupil. Your fingers fumble once. A tear runs at the corner of the paper. The neighbor laughs kindly when you mention it. He waves it off and hands you a bit of paste. You paste the paper, smoothing out wrinkles, your Efferingers pressing gently so as not to tear it. The scent of glutinous paste mixed with bamboo is oddly soothing. Eventually, the paper is straight, the shape restored. Lighting the candle inside, the lantern glows softly, and you feel a quiet pride. The cracked lantern stands repaired, a small victory in a calm morning. You continue on, feeling lighter. You notice a pot of clay turning smoothly on a potter's wheel in a courtyard down the street. A middle-aged woman tosses a ball of clay, whispering almost as if speaking to an old friend. It is strangely serene, so you stop a moment. She smiles and nods, unbothered by your silent audience. No words pass, only warm nods. In this city of half-empty streets, everyone is connected by quiet gestures. You give a warm thumbs up, and her grin grows under flour-dusted hair. Ahead, you pass a shop where an old man tunes a string instrument, a gukan. The first low note hums against the wall of the alley, rich and resonant. "Good morning," you offer. He bows briefly. You can almost feel the string's vibration through the air as he plucks, sending ripples of sound that make the cold morning feel a little softer. Without really listening, you find yourself humming along, following the melody in your head. It is a playful tune, not solemn at all. The notes rise as if mimicking a sparrow flitting to the tip of a branch, then settle like leaves on water. You chuckle to yourself, thinking it fits the morning very well. A mild breeze picks up the smell of brewing tea again, and you notice it's probably past breakfast time and already noon approaches. The sun has climbed high, and with it, A gentle warmth is spreading over the courtyard. The air now smells of the river, a faint wet scent of stone and aquatic moss. Mixed with the smoke of lunch being prepared next door, maybe some pickled cabbage boiling, or roasted chestnuts. It's hard to tell, but it all smells like comfort. You imagine your mother in her kitchen whipping up something simple, a memory that brings the barest smile. You feel a slight hunger too, more pronounced than this morning. It's still a challenge with war at your doorstep. The small village market that used to be up the street has half the vegetables it once did. This morning, you saw a few baskets of yams and cabbage, but eggs are more precious now. Still, this challenge is small in the grand scheme. It's the sort of morning where, if a grain is scarce, it can still be turned into a satisfying bowl of porridge. A gentle laugh escapes you as you imagine the world's most patient neighbor telling you, starvation can wait until after dinner. For now, it's enough to remember that a little patience and creativity can mend small problems, like fixing a lantern or making a hearty soup from what little is available. Having dealt with the morning's minor obstacles, you decide to immerse yourself more fully in your surroundings. You wander toward the riverside. Along the way, every detail of daily life is a quiet conversation. You greet a wooden stall where fish are sold, not fresh, but salted and dried. The seller nods with a smile, tapping his chest in a gesture of respect. You smell steamed buns with sesame seeds again. The street vendor laughs softly when you mime licking your lips. The world feels gentle here. By the river, the water flows steadily under arched stone bridges. Fishermen stand patiently at dawn like monoliths in shallow robes, their bamboo lines dipping in and out of the water. A fisherman nearby catches a small silver carp. The carp's scales flash bright, iridescent as a pearl, before it slips back. The old man claps once and nods at you, pleased. You pause, as if waiting for the fish to reappear, then chuckle at the patience of them both, fisherman and fish. A pair of children run past with kites. Bright paper kites, shaped like cranes, flutter in the air, trailing tails that cut through the quiet. You watch one dip as if tired, then catch an updraft and climb again. It's almost absurd how the kite chirps on the string. You imagine it laughing with delight. Your own tension eases a little more, thinking that even on a day heavy with worry, such a kite flutters freely. The afternoon sun is now warm on your face. You remove your indigo jacket and tie the sleeves around your waist, letting the sun catch on the patterned cloth. On the horizon, the outline of the purple mountain rises gently. In your mind's eye, you recall the white memorial of Sun Yat-sen, the founding father of modern China, perched on those peaks like a silent guardian. It stands serene and untouched above the city, just as his ideals were meant to be. As the breeze carries a sense of quiet nobility from that direction, you think of the past and future merging in this moment. You find a quiet bench by a willow tree and sit, watching the Yangtze flow lazily by. The willow's long tendrils trail in the wind, some dipping into the water. You drop your fingers into the river. It's clear and surprisingly warm from the day's sun. A lotus leaf drifts by with a fat brown beetle on it, blissfully unaware of anything else. You whisper to the beetle about the value of slow travel. It remains still, and it seems you've given comfort to another being with your words. A gecko scurries under the bench leg. Its skin is cool to the touch as you let it climb on your palm. You feel the fine ridges of its toes and marvel at the tiny strength in its legs. You wonder to yourself if he notices how utterly safe he is under a stranger's hand, surrounded by city life. Maybe he does, and maybe he doesn't. Regardless, you feel connected to all these little creatures who share the city with you. The gecko leaps off onto the grass as calmly as it came, dissolving into green shadows, and you are left with a quiet wonder at life's simple balance. As the afternoon progresses, the city finds a calm routine. You rise from the bench, gently pushing your hands down on it. They land on cool wood, and you can almost feel the years of use etched in its grain. You keep to a slow pace, feeling how the weariness of midday comes softly upon your calves and shoulders. Walking through the narrow lanes, you pass others lost in their own gentle tasks. A woman hangs a blanket outside, its heavy folds moving gracefully in the wind. A young man polishes brass bowls by a shop window. The dull clink is methodical. The atmosphere has the unhurried economy of a tea house mid-afternoon. Everything goes on quietly, with an unspoken agreement that now is the moment to breathe. You find yourself back in a communal space, perhaps a small public garden or temple courtyard, with low benches and stone lions guarding corners. On the edge, a group of old men play Xiangqi Chinese chess. They speak little, only letting the placement of a wooden piece do the talking. You watch how they lean in, how one of them lifts an eyebrow when another makes a bold move. There's even a hint of a smirk when one outplays the other, humor as subtle as the pieces sliding on the board. Nearby, a mother is coaxing her toddler to sleep in his crib of cloth. The child yawns, as wide as the river, and then giggles as his mother tickles his belly. The mother is gentle with a warm voice. You smile at the scene. It's such an ordinary moment, but in this city, ordinary feels profound. You settle on a stone bench across, closing your eyes for a minute. You hear the baby's quiet coo as the mother hums a lullaby. The melody is lullaby soft, notes like a gentle breeze through bamboo. Your breathing even slows as you take in the harmony of child's tender happiness and the smooth hum of distant cicadas. A slight dew begins to fall as the sun moves lower. You can feel it on your skin now, cool and tender. It's as if the sky is wishing the city good night early. The rain is very light, more like a sigh than a shower, landing on your cheek like a lover's light fingertip. It kisses the earth quietly, steaming off the stone and bringing up the sweet smell of damp moss and baked clay. You tilt your face to the sky and a drop trickles into your eye. You blink and smile. Even the sky feels soft now, listening to the day's end. The rain coaxes people inside. Shopkeepers roll up bamboo shades. The waiter at a noodle stall wipes down the counter and starts arranging bowls. You note how everyone moves a bit more slowly now. There's no panic, it's simply time to close for a short rest. Even the Sun Yat-sen statue on Purple Mountain, miles away, seems to dip a respectful head behind the misty veil. By late afternoon, the light has that warm, golden glow of dusk. It filters through the bamboo grove across the courtyard, painting long, lazy shadows. A slight cold creeps in again. You notice your breath in the air now, little puffs of steam with each word you whisper. Evening is on its way. The heavy clouds gathered, earlier a soft drizzle, now part slowly, revealing a pale crescent moon rising timidly in a purple sky. Lightning in the distance flashes once or twice, though it's so faint you barely register it. Perhaps it's far-off thunder rolling, or merely someone striking a copper kettle. Regardless, the gentle rumble reminds you of distant storms. It's comforting more than frightening, like the memory of a lullaby you half remember. You gather a thin, woven blanket and drape it over your shoulders, feeling the wool's familiar weight. The courtyard light from the lanterns, newly lit now as night beckons, casts a golden sheen on the brick walls. Each lantern is sealed behind glass, the flames still stable in the calm air. The wooden frames glow, as if flickering with a heartbeat. It is silent, save for the rain's distant melody. The mood in the city has subtly shifted. An energy gathers in stillness. Perhaps because tomorrow is near, or because night invites dreams. You walk slowly past closed market stalls, their wares now hidden. Only a faint smell of soy sauce hanging in the air. No one is rushing. No one is restless. Instead, people board up windows quietly, hang lanterns, and hope the little lights will chase away nightmares tonight. Your heart also shifts. The day's earlier anxiety of war ebbs now with the closing of light. You smile at something strangely absurd. The sight of an old professor adjusting a straw hat on his cat, or the neighbor's rooster complaining in a tiny voice that it still wants to crow at midnight. These small, gentle absurdities keep fear at bay. They remind you that life's poetry persists even on the edge of catastrophe. Night deepens. In your room once more, you settle onto the thin mat that is now your bed. You pull the blanket up to your shoulders. Your breathing is slower now, harmonizing with the quiet tick of a clock across the room. Dim lantern light falls softly on your face. In this peaceful darkness, you feel your body. It is pleasantly sore from the day's walks, from bending and stretching. Each ache is like a badge of living fully. You breathe, noticing the gentle rise and fall of your chest. You reflect on the day's events, the small kindnesses given and received, the mundane accomplishments of making something right, the serenity of watching children play and watching the willow sway. Your mind drifts to the city of millions, of which only a fraction remains. In their absence, the city's soul feels almost more alive. You feel grateful to be part of whatever calm persists here. You think of the Nanking safety zone, the area that Rabe and others carved out to save lives. Many of these rooms and halls you wandered through today lie within that zone. You wonder if they would approve of your quiet day. Perhaps they would. You acted as kindly and as bravely as they might hope. In your reflection, you feel a rhythm like a river in your mind, slow and steady. It's the flow of a normal day, simple and unhurried. You compare it softly in your thoughts to the major upheavals happening around, generals moving pieces in distant boards, orders passed in tongue, fleets sailing under war flags. Yet here, the enormous events recede into the background. When your breath becomes slow, the rest of the world muffles and all you hear is this, the gentle patter of the remaining drops on the rooftop and the silent conversation of the heart settling. There is humor hidden even here. You think of the rooster complaining at midnight, the cat greeting each dawn as if royalty, the politician giving a solemn speech outside whose words the wind twists into a song. The absurdity of imagining such trivialities in a time of crisis brings a quiet chuckle. You exhale, realizing a smile has found your lips. You are tired now, the good kind of tired. The steady life of Nanking today has anchored your restless thoughts. Even with the world changing beyond these walls, your breath knows this place. You close your eyes, feeling the night envelope you like a familiar silk robe. Though sleep tugs at you, your mind gently recalls the culture and stories of this place. Not as something scholarly or cold, but as warm memories, nearly as comfortable as the wool blanket on your shoulders. The walls of this city have heard poetry, wars, laughter, and tears. You imagine them whispering tales back to you now. In the distant temple courtyard, the Confucius temple stands humble and unassuming. You remember reading that here scholars once quarreled lovingly over philosophy, invoking Confucius and Mencius. You feel a kinship with those thinkers, sitting meditatively through the pangs of the world. They too had anxiety about war, but they trusted ritual and heart. Maybe that's why they built schools and temples, for calm nights like this one. Your thoughts drift to the Westerners in the safety zone, missionaries, professors, journalists. Minnie Vautrin, who sheltered thousands of young women in Ginling College. How quietly she must have moved, ministering to those in need, caring for innocence. Imagining her compassion warms you. You realize how this humanity is shared. The old fisherman, the kite-flying child, the cat under the lantern. All of you are part of a greater story of kindness. In Chinese culture, families stick together. You feel like you are part of a gentle family tonight. Although the war outside is brutal, inside you, the global conflicts feel distant. You touch the jade pendant around your neck, a simple carved circle, and remember the story of yin and yang, how light and dark must exist together. It seems to fit, the day's joys and ordeals, the peace in the storm, the laughter near tears. It is an absurdly balanced universe sometimes. The thought makes you chuckle softly into the pillow. Now fully lying back, your gaze is on the ceiling's wooden beams, but your mind travels. In the darkness behind your eyes, you paint a dreamy scene. Perhaps you are flying above Nanking, above the Yangtze, tracing the city's outline by memory. You see it in layers, the old city walls like a sleeping dragon curled around a treasure. The lotus ponds as its eyes, the distant purple mountain as a crown on its head. It's peaceful from here. A deep wonder takes you. How this quiet lullaby of Nanking's night will soon be broken by something tremendous. Yet you feel oddly calm about it. You remind yourself that every place and every person you encountered has a story. And this night, your night, is but one thread. Even absurdly, your ordinary day will become just another memory after the world changes. But for tonight, reality and dream mingle seamlessly. You find comfort that whatever happens, this moment of stillness can always be found again in memory. Your pulse slows. A last thought drifts through. At any moment, the night could roar to life, but that roar is not here now. You feel like the city itself is perched at the edge of a dream. And dreams, after all, are peaceful. The city has gone silent. The last lanterns have been lit on front porches and along main streets, casting golden puddles of light on wet stones. The wind outside is colder now, as if the night air itself tucks in the city. Smoke from kitchens hangs low, and you smell cinnamon and rice, tonight's dinner. You imagine neighbors settling in, cheeks flushed with warmth. Your eyes are heavy. You feel yourself sinking softly into sleep. Before drifting off, you take one more steady breath, knowing you will rest deeply. The day's many sensations linger on your skin, and in your mind, the feel of the river on your hand, the taste of morning tea, the song of the cricket by your bed. As your eyelids shut, you feel surrounded by a gentle hope, like the tiny glow of a distant lantern on the misty horizon, promises another sunrise. The sky outside turns the color of old paper, and you think of ancient ink spreading slowly as it meets water, a gentle reminder that each day is a new page. Default text. You have settled now into a deep, comforting quiet. Nanking under the night has told you its secrets, that even in a city poised on the edge of history, the small human moments endure. Softly, you sigh, ready to sleep. Outside, stars glimmer over the ancient walls, and the jasmine in the courtyard blossoms unseen. In this tender darkness, peace reigns, and the promise of tomorrow is as gentle and certain as dawn's first light. Good night, Nanking.